proud to see you folks out in the snowstorm. That's quite a snow, wasn't it? Almost an inch. But anyway, it's wet, it's white, and we like it. We'll take anything we get in the form of moisture. So thankful that you're here this morning, and we have a special guest this morning. We're so thankful that Tyler Rex and his wife and baby boy are here this morning from Lubbock. They're attending the Sunset School of Preaching there in Lubbock, and I believe this is your last year, isn't it, Tyler? Yeah, so he's just about got it done. We're so thankful for him and his wife and child. Just want to introduce him this morning. He'll be bringing our Bible class lesson. He'll also be bringing the sermon for the morning. So we're so thankful that he's here.
It's good to be with you again. This morning we're just going to be going over a little bit of a recap of this second year at Sunset. I included some stuff from the first year as well. So we're just going to talk a little bit about Sunset, some of the classes, and then life so far in Lubbock. Well, maybe. We'll figure it out here maybe in a second. There we go. Okay. So a little bit about SIBI. So in 1962, they started the school there in Lubbock, and they wanted to create something for Spanish-speaking people that were interested in the scriptures to be able to give them an opportunity to know it better. And it exploded and turned into this really great school that people are now going to from all over the world and attending online as well to learn the Bible better. To sharpen their preaching skills, all that kind of good stuff. So they have residential courses where you can go in person and also study online. And they also have emphasis training where you can specialize your second year more towards preaching or family and youth. They have women's ministry available as well, sign language, all that kind of great stuff. Missions as well too. That's what all those colorful symbols are for up there. So just a little, I know this is the boring stuff, so hang in there with me. Just a little bit about our daily schedule. So school starts about 8:30, gets out at 4:30. We have chapel in the morning, which is an amazing time for us to worship God, sing, hear a lesson, kind of get our day started. And then we also have a morning and a PM class with lunch and preaching lab in there. So this is kind of where I want to spend some of the meat of our time this morning, talking about the classes that SIBI offers and some of the things that have been really amazing for the building of our faith. As you can see, a lot of different things are up there. Things like Old Testament history, right? A survey of the Old Testament. So those first 5 books, we kind of did an overview, but then also they have classes that dig into specific books like Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Daniel, that kind of stuff. They also have a lot of courses in the New Testament, things like Galatians, Romans, Acts, but they also have some more specialized classes too that are incredible. So like Scheme of Redemption, this class is so instrumental in showing how the Bible fits together as one giant story that was all culminating in who Jesus was and what he did for his people. And so it shows how from Genesis to Revelation, it's all coherent, it all fits together, it's all one incredible puzzle that you can put the pieces together for. Then we also had classes like Spiritual Disciplines that was great in showing us, you know, what does the Bible have to say about prayer? What does the Bible have to say about study and meditation on God's Word? What does it have to say about fasting? The Spiritual Disciplines class was great in showing us how to dig into the real application of how to apply those things to our lives and how to do it right, how to do it biblically. A biblical interpretation was also an incredible class. It had a lot of homework, so it wasn't necessarily my favorite in that aspect, but the things that it showed us how to do was incredible because it shows you how to take a specific book in the Bible and how to study it deeply, how to look for, you know, what words are coming up the most, what are the themes in this book, what's the point of the letter, right? Because I think a lot of times we jump into books of the Bible and we don't necessarily know anything about the audience or why it was written to them or what is really the purpose of this book. And so that class showed us how to dive deep into that and how to learn those kind of study methods. So it's been incredibly helpful. Also, if you want to know anything about the book of Jude, I could probably tell you anything you want to know. They had us write a 40-page commentary on it, which is crazy because Jude's like one chapter. Yeah, so sacrificial systems, man, there's so many times. It's funny, right? Because when people do their yearly Bible readings, they get all the way through Genesis and like halfway through Exodus, and then they get to where they're building the tabernacle and the sacrificial system, and then they skip Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy and go right to Joshua. And it's like, no, hold on. These books are actually worth reading. They're really good, I promise. And sacrificial systems was great because it showed us that the purpose for all these Old Testament things was to be a shadow, like shadow's maybe the best way to put it, but basically it shows you why in the New Testament things had to be the way that they were. And so when you have a grasp of these Old Testament things, right, like the sacrifices and the offerings and even the way that the tabernacle and the temple was built, it shows you why they were important in the New Testament. And so it makes books like Hebrews so much richer when it talks about Jesus being the one for all sacrifice, right? Or that he entered into the holy place to offer that sacrifice once for all. Just don't ask me who Melchizedek is, because I have no idea. Yeah, and then also some other ones that you see up there, things like letters of John. Before I got to Sunset, I was a fairly new Christian, had only been a Christian for about a year, maybe longer, my wife as well. And letters of John was huge in teaching us how we can know that we're saved and we can have that confidence in our salvation. I had an opportunity to preach in our morning chapel about that and how we can look at the scripture and we can have that confidence. One of the things that I talked about in that sermon was like how in the New Testament you never see one of the writers questioning their salvation, right? Because there's a reason that those people had the confidence that they do. You don't have to question your salvation if you're in Christ. God has, again, offered that once for all sacrifice that makes us clean before God. And so letters of John was amazing in teaching us that and really gave all of us a lot more confidence in the things that we read in Scripture. And then also the preaching and teaching labs have been amazing as well. I remember when they first started having us preach, and I was just such a nervous wreck, and I'd get up there and I was shaking, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. And so it's been really nice that they have been working with us to help develop our lessons and give us the confidence that we need to do public speaking. So I want to talk a little bit about some short courses. You guys can also ask questions if you have any. So about our short courses, so at the end of each term or at the beginning, just depending on how the schedule falls, we take a week out of our schedule to study something specific. So these are some of our teachers that we had for the short courses that taught on these specific things. So like Trey and Lee, the first ones you see there, I believe on your left, they taught on marriage rather. And then we also had some courses on evangelism, small groups, and practical ministry skills. Man, that one was good. He was talking about how when you're in the thick of it in ministry and crises come up, that kind of thing, how to deal with all that. Really, really great stuff. And I do want to talk a little bit about the staff. Something that makes SIBI so special to me, and I think to everybody that is able to go there, is that the staff is not just there to teach you. The staff is there to be a part of your life. And these people are going to be in my life forever, and I know that because they've made it clear that that's what they want to do. These people are invested in you. These people love you. These people will do anything that they can do to help you succeed, not just in school, but even after you've graduated. And as odd as maybe it seems, these people are my friends. They're not just my brothers and sisters in Christ, they're my friends too, which is amazing. And I know my wife would say the same thing. A little bit about preaching. I've already covered some of this, but it's been awesome to have the opportunities to do the things that they've had us do, right? And so they had one student that was able to go preach at the workshop, and they chose me, and that was a huge honor for my wife and I to be able to take that on. And so that's what that picture is there on the left. And they had this huge workshop go on, and it was great. But the thing that I've already said, and I'll kind of emphasize it again, is that they've taken us from literally not being able to get up and have the confidence to speak in front of people, and taken us to the place where you're not only confident, but you also have methods to where you can preach the word effectively. And so hopefully I do that this morning. So you can hold me accountable to that. Okay, so this is really neat. So part of the preaching and the teaching labs, and also biblical interpretation, is helping you get to a point where you can take what you want to talk about in a lesson or a sermon, and you can condense it down to something that is understandable, right? Because there's a lot of times where people will get up, and there's nothing wrong with this, but a lot of times people will get up to speak and they have like a manuscript that they're reading from. The first time that I was here, and you guys asked me to preach for you about a year ago, I brought my laptop up there, and I was basically just reading from my computer screen, because I was like, if I don't do that, what am I going to say? Like, how do I talk to people? And so what they've done is they've helped us create effective methods in terms of how we can present things, right, when we're preaching and teaching. And so these are some examples of outlines that I've created that they've helped me with along the way. So you've got some preaching and some teaching outlines there. And so that's been really helpful, right? Because one of the things that used to scare me to death about preaching was you would get up there, and not only did you not know how to talk to people, but it was like, well, do I do the preacher voice? How do I present this to them in a way that's not only understandable, but relatable, right? And so what this has helped me to do is to basically just have a conversation with the people that I'm talking to. And so that's been incredible, because it allows us to be us instead of somebody that people think that we should be. Hopefully that makes sense. I do want to talk a little bit about small groups too. This is a picture of my wife's small group that she does on Thursdays. This is so cool because it gives us as students an opportunity to get to know our classmates a little bit better, and then to have that relationship outside of school. So they have a men's and a ladies small group on Thursdays, and again, it's just an opportunity to fellowship. They do a Bible lesson, and then on this one they went out and got frozen yogurt, so that was really cool. But these have been great in growing our faith and relationships, and helping us to just have some community while we're going to school there. So these are pictures from last summer when I did an internship up in the Northwest in Puyallup, Washington. So this is actually our home congregation, and the preacher said, hey, I know you're looking for an internship over the summer, why don't you come up and work with us? And so Tommy, the preacher, he had me come up and work with him and the elders to do some preaching and some teaching. And so that was incredible to just get some, I think, real, practical ministry skills of how do I do this practically? What does the day-to-day of a minister's life look like? That kind of thing. We did some home visits, again, preaching and teaching, helping around the building, whatever people need, evangelism, that kind of stuff. So it was really nice to be able to do the practical things that you would do, and to get that experience. Because, Bible school is nice, but what's that? Puyallup, Washington. So it's about, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes from Tacoma. Does that sound right, hon? Yeah? Okay. And Tacoma's near Seattle as well, so I don't know if that gives you guys a picture of where any of that's at, but. Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Oh, for Sunset? Wonderful. Oh, 6 classes? Wow. Yeah, so you got a full schedule. Yeah. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah, yeah, that's wonderful. That is amazing. Hmm. Gotcha. Well, why am I even up here telling you about it? You already know. You guys could get up here and do this. No, that's awesome. That's amazing. Yeah, sunset is great. Um, yeah, so what was really special about this internship, though, like I said, is that you get the practical ministry application and not just the classroom feel. Because a lot of people will tell you, yeah, like you learn a lot in Bible school, you can learn a lot in 2 years, but you're not actually getting the practical side of it until you've done it, right? It's really similar to when you hire a college graduate right out of college, and then they're like, yeah, well, I know about it, but I've never done it before. That's kind of how that works. So the internship was really valuable. Let's talk a little bit about some of the evangelism we've done while we've been at school. One of the things that they encourage us to do is to get out and evangelize in the community. And we had some classes on some practical ways to do that. And so one of the things that we've developed as students is we like to go to the local parks and then have fellowship meals and singing and a Bible lesson after church on Sunday. And people have actually come up and asked us, what is this about? What are you guys doing? And then we invite them to have food with us and to sing and to do whatever and join in on whatever we're doing. And so it's been really effective. And I think especially some of the ladies that have come up have gotten in contact with some of the ladies from our evangelism outreach community groups. And so it's been really special. It's a good time for us to fellowship with our brothers and sisters and also reach out to the community. So when I was doing the internship in Puyallup, they also had a mission trip that they were about to go on down in the Baja area. And so we went down and worked with the church in Papalote, and we were able to do a couple of things. We did a VBS for the church down there, which was incredible. We did some community outreach, which was great too. So we went to the next town over, and we just started grilling like burgers and hot dogs, and then we opened up one of the buildings that they had there, and we offered haircuts and medical and all that kind of stuff, and people from all over that community that were just walking around started coming up, and they were like, oh, how much for food, how much for a haircut? And we're like, no, this is for you, this is why we're here. And so we had an opportunity to tell them about Jesus. And what's really cool is those communities that we did that in, we're looking at planting churches in those communities in the future. And so what's cool about that is they already know who we are. And so when we come back, they'll be able to remember that we did that. And so we'll be able to help them in that way. And we already have that kind of touch point that we need in the future. I believe I might have some pictures here. Yeah. So we also did some construction work while we were there. We were able to get the church some hot water, which was a huge blessing to them, and then add on to their houses with whatever they need. So the way that they build their houses down there is kind of interesting because it's like an ongoing project all throughout their life, and then they pass down whatever they were able to do to their kids, and their kids continue to build on. And so one of the families there in that middle picture had most of the walls up, but they didn't have a roof on their addition to their house, and so we were able to help them put on a roof with whatever supplies they had locally. And the family was incredibly grateful. And what was really cool is the last year that they had come down before this, the husband, the only one in the family that was a Christian was the mom. And so by the time we came back and did this mission trip, she had gotten the kids involved in the church and they were able to do the VBS and all that, but the dad wasn't exactly sold on Christianity. And so what was really neat is before we started the roof, we just went over to their house and brought them food and asked if we could, spend some time singing and doing whatever. And the husband was just just so moved emotionally that someone would care that much to come and just do that and not ask anything of them. And so once we started building the roof, he was able to help a little bit, but he had a day job and all that. And eventually, by the time we left, he was baptized into Christ. And he was just so thankful and amazed that someone would actually care that much about a stranger, and so to be able to show someone the love of Christ in that way was truly special. Just trying to think time-wise here, what we have time to talk about. So a lot of pictures. You're going to see a lot of pictures of us eating together and eating food because that's one of our favorite things to do. So this is a picture of our entire class, I believe. We went out for, I think I'm actually not even in that picture. I can't remember what I was doing. But this is a picture of almost our entire class. And so we were out getting lunch, and it was just really, really cool to be able to have everybody sit together at one table. And then this picture, so this is really special. Our teacher for sacrificial systems that taught us Leviticus, he had us do a couple of projects and assignments, obviously, throughout the course, but he said, instead of taking the final, you can come over to my house as a class and we'll do a mock Passover meal the way that they would have done it in the Bible times. And so we went over and they had all the different parts of the meals, and he had a presentation of how the Passover was when it was first instituted, and then how it changed over the years, and some of the traditions that they would have at Passover meals. And it was just so neat because it took something that we read in scripture on the pages and it brought it to life. We didn't put any blood on the doorposts or anything like that, but we had all the other parts there for sure. So just again, some things that we've experienced while we've been at Sunset. That's another picture of us all eating at lunch there in the lunchroom. This was really special. So one of the students at Sunset that I met named Matthew, we developed a really great friendship over the time that we spent at Sunset, and he met a very special young lady while he was going to school, and they eventually got married. And this was right after our summer internship, so I got to be one of his best men? Is that what you would call that? Yeah, anyway, I got to be part of his wedding, and it was really cool, and I got to give a speech. And what was really neat is, I had only known Matthew for just a little over a year, and yet we're so close already, which was really neat. And his bride is amazing too. She's a great lady. And then also, my wife just gave birth to our son Elias, and he is a beautiful baby boy, and I love him so much. But we're first-time parents, and so it's been difficult, but it's been worth it. I just want a little bit more sleep at night. And then that last one there, it's probably really small up there. Okay, yeah, it's not as small as this one, but that last picture is a picture of our baby shower that we had, which was really cool. We did a co-ed baby shower, and we didn't really expect much, but we walked in, and our classmates had set up an entire thing for us and brought us gifts and had games to play, and it was really cool because, for new parents to have their first child is such a special time in your life. And so for our classmates to want to set up all those things for us and then just surprise us with it it was incredible. This also was really, really fun. So to give a little bit of background about this is a barbecue that we had a couple months ago, maybe a month ago, something like that. And the way that this came about is so funny. So we had a class called New Testament Church in school where they were teaching us, what does the Bible have to say about, this and that, and how you structure church, and should we use instruments? What are women's roles in the Bible, and that kind of stuff. And the whole class was focused around that. And then we got to where it talks about head coverings, but we ran out of time. And our teacher was so you got two options. He's basically, I could not tell you what the Bible has to say about that, and we won't study it, or you can come over to my place and we'll have a barbecue and then we'll talk about it. And I was like, well, yeah, who doesn't want to do a barbecue and talk about the Bible? That's awesome. So let's do that. So basically what came out of that is now we have a tradition where we have a yearly barbecue with that instructor, and we go over to his house, and he has this giant garage where he's got like a smoker and all these things for making barbecue, and it's awesome. And what's really funny is we always take, this is going to sound weird, we take a picture of his face and turn it into a meme, and then we put it on a shirt and we buy it for everybody, including him. So that's why we're all wearing matching shirts. And the back of it is awesome because it's like, you know, all like the grilling utensils, and then it says a sweet aroma. It's great. It's awesome. Yeah, so this was really cool. So part of being at Sunset in this second year was I met through a couple of different things. I met a mentor that I study with every Friday. I personally think that finding an older person, you know, whether you're a man or a woman, finding someone that's older than you that can mentor you in the scriptures and to enjoy life with and to learn from and to spend time with is really important. And so this guy in the middle picture there named Eric is my mentor that I study with every Friday. And what was really cool is, you know, Mattia and I don't have a lot of family that live around Lubbock, and he just randomly messaged me and he was like, hey, I know that you probably don't have any plans for Thanksgiving, so why don't you come spend that with us? And so that was really, really special. But what was also really special about that is right after we got done eating Thanksgiving dinner, Mattia's water broke, and we had to go to the hospital on Thanksgiving. So Elias was born the day after on Black Friday, and he has been such a blessing to our life ever since. It's really interesting going to the hospital on a holiday because nobody, I mean, obviously they have hospital staff there, but it just seems like nobody's there. It's like a ghost town kind of thing. But it was really great. We had great nurses and doctors and everything, and our baby boy was born healthy, and Mama had a great delivery, and we were praying hard, but God just gave us everything we asked for, and all glory and honor to him. He's amazing for taking care of us. And then some baby overload pictures. I love our son. I love taking pictures of him. I love it when he smiles. I love everything about him, and I know Mattia does too. So just wanted to put those up there. Okay, so I know we're probably a little short on time. What time does the sermon start? Like 10:30? Is that when the worship service starts? Okay. So I'll just talk a little bit about some takeaways from school. So when I started SIBI, I didn't want anything to do with preaching. I didn't want anything to do with public speaking, anything. I didn't want to do any of that because I don't like being in the spotlight. But what has come out of that has been really nice is that I have a desire to get this to as many people as I can, and I think that through preaching and teaching, that's one of the best ways to do that. And so God has really changed a lot of my desires in my heart and what I want to do, and I think that he's calling me to be a preacher, however that works, because he's given me a desire in my heart to want to get this to as many people as I can. And so that's what I'm looking to do after school. I'm looking to go into a ministerial position, a preaching position, if you want to call it that, somewhere. So we're looking. But also practical ministry experience. We've had a lot of great opportunities at Sunset, whether it's the internship or mission work or the short courses. There's a lot of great things that we've had time to experience there and practice with that have given us the ability to be equipped for when we do go into ministry and to be able to do that effectively. And so I'm really grateful for Sunset for that. And then also, like I've said throughout this whole time that we've been doing this lesson, that I've made some lifelong friends and family that I would say are really special to me and my wife. And even, like I said, the staff have been great friends. And I know that they're going to be there for us no matter what throughout the rest of our life. And so it's incredible that God's family wants to stick around as much as they do. It's great. And then also just, I guess, some postgraduate thoughts here. Like I said, I want to go into preaching and teaching if I am blessed enough to do that. And also, I have a passion for evangelism. The churches of Christ are in a bit of kind of a weird spot right now where because a lot of the people in our culture are asking a lot of questions and social media has been leading people down some weird roads, people are just kind of put off by church. And so I think that we need to be out in the community telling people about Jesus and sharing why he's so great and what the church is here to do and why the church is so amazing, which is actually what we're going to be talking about in the sermon today, why the church is so great. So I have a passion for telling people about Jesus and what he's done for me and my wife and hopefully someday for my son, and to make that difference. But also, you know, I talked to somebody from my congregation up in Puyallup that said, your son is now your greatest mission field. And that really stuck with me because Mattia and I didn't get to grow up in the church. And so for our son to have the opportunity to grow up and to know God is so special. And I want to make sure that he is able to ask any questions that he has. I want to make sure that he knows the scriptures and gets to know Jesus personally, because at the end of the day, that's the most important thing in this life, is to know God personally. So I think that's all I had for you guys, unless you had any questions. Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys. Appreciate your time.